Hey everybody, Z Garcia here, and today we're going to be revisiting our market stall loving animal folk critters in Dale of Merchants collection. In this box, you are going to get a new game set in the world of Dale of Merchants, a new set of cards. Now, if you don't know what Dale of Merchants is, it's a deck building game in which you are going to be buying new cards in these different critter families and then using those to, well, gather better and stronger cards, but mainly to try to build up your market stalls. And whoever builds a certain number of them first wins the whole thing. There already are several games in the line. Dale of Merchants, then Dale of Merchants 2 came out. This is Dale of Merchants Collection, and there is a Dale of Merchants 3 coming out. It's actually on Kickstarter right now if you're watching this when it shows up. So this is another set of cards, new critters that you can choose to play. You can just play with the ones in here. But this is also a way to store them all together. This is a repository for everything Dale of Merchants with some comprehensive knowledge about the system, card dividers, variants you can choose to throw in, all of that stuff. So, before I dive into this, I'm not going to teach you how to play Dale of Merchants, okay? If you don't know how to play, you should check that out. We've got reviews for the game, and it won't be really ultimately any different than this. The animals will be different, the special effects will be different, but like many deck building games, if you know the core system, you've got it, okay? So I'm not going to do that. Instead, I want to show you what comes in here and what the inside of this looks like and how this is going to help you organize several Dale of Merchants products if you so choose. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at everything that comes in the box here. You've got, right on top here, your rule book. And this is a comprehensive rule book. This is going to cover everything across all of the sets for Dale of Merchants. Even though this collection specifically only includes these up here, the Dale of Merchants collection, it also gives you the information for the other sets that are or will be available soon. All right, so that's the rule book. It's very nice, lots of detail, nice thick rule book as well. Good quality, good build quality there. We've got this, which is very neat. The Animal Folk Compendium has all of the critters in the game with a little explanation as to kind of how they feel, sort of what they do. And again, they give you here the original set, second set, the beavers, which was a promo, they include that as well in the information. Third set, doesn't exist yet, and then this set. And as you can tell, there are 8 animal folks here, and only 6 in all the other ones. So you do get a little more content in this box than in the previous sets, just based on the animal folks alone, all right? Let's get that out of the way. All right, let's take a look in here. You've got spaces down here for 2 types of tokens. These are trackers or markers for whatever they may you may need them for. These are a currency, basically. You can use these to buy more expensive cards. You can save these from turn to turn, etc. You've got a board down here, double-sided, just like in the other sets. So we've got one side there, one side there. You are going to have dividers for all the kinds of cards over here, the different cards, and a couple of special decks in here, which I'll get to in 1 second. And then down here below this, you've got these special ability cards, a whole stack of them, as well as the clock that a couple of the animal folks use in the game. All right, so this one right here. So I'll put that back in there. You don't need to worry about that for right now. We're going to get to this in just a second. I can put this back. And I'm going to tell you about, not the game part of this box, which is fine, just as good as the other Dale of Merchants games, but the collection part of the title, what this is mainly for, and that is for storing everything Dale of Merchants. You see over here, I have Dale of Merchants 1 and 2. Already organized and already utilizing the dividers, as you can see there, that came in this box, okay? I just pulled them out to explain to you, so to give you a visual, idea as to what actually comes in here. But you're going to have this storage here to keep all of your cards organized. They give you all of the dividers in here, and they give you a few variants. So let's talk about them, okay? Also, of course, spots for our dice up here. This is an upcoming die. So variants, let's talk about them. All right, I'm going to spin this around so I can take a look at it. You've got trap cards. That's a new thing you may choose to play with. The way this works is you are going to have player colors. So let's say I'm blue, okay, and I'm playing against the green player and the purple player. All right, we're each going to decide which trap cards we're using. We'll be using the same ones. So let's say the 1 and the 3 value. Everybody gets those. You put them into your deck at the beginning of the game. And as they come up, as you have them in your hand, you can choose to play the technique, which is very simple. They all say the same thing. Place this card on top of another player's discard pile. Great. So if I have this in my hand, I can put this on top of somebody else's discard pile for an action. Later on, when it cycles through their deck and they draw it, though, that's when it happens. And then some special ability is going to trigger. For the one called Misdirection, basically it says the blue player, that would be me, the person that gave them this card, the blue player draws a card from their deck, places it into their hand, and then it says in bold, return. They have to give me this back. The value 3 card here, Storage Trip, says the blue player exchanges 3 random cards from your hand with the top 3 cards from your discard pile, and then return this. So these are going to mess with the other players. They're going to kick up the interaction. So again, you can choose to play these, add these into your game or not. That's up to you. Now, let's talk about deck selection, which is not a special variant, but it's included and it's very cool. These deck selection cards, you can choose to use these to select which animal folk decks you're going to put in your game. And again, they give you all of them, including, again, the beavers, which are a promo. But you have first set, second set, third unreleased set is in here, even though these cards don't exist yet. Shuffle this up. Figure out, if you're playing with, let's say, 3 players, you would need 4 animal folk decks, of course. So you shuffle this up, draw your 4. There we go. I'm playing with these. Except these 3 don't exist. But, you would just remove those at the beginning. So, very neat. They also give you a little explanation as to the complexity, the interactivity, how mean they are, how random, and a little breakdown of how they're meant to feel as you play with them. Really like they included this. You've also got then this deck of cards, which is special abilities. If you want to play with these, you want to be experienced at the game before you throw these in, but you can choose to do that. It comes in 3 levels. You got the greens. They're a little bit easier than yellow. And then the red ones would be the most complex. And you would shuffle them up, whichever ones you want to use. Give every player 2, and they can pick the one they want, okay? And they're going to do all sorts of things. So let me see. Let me find one to give you as an explanation. So we've got over here, let's say I was dealt, this is one of my 2, and that's the one I wanted to go with. Some of them, they'll let you know here along the side, require some extra stuff. So this guy, I need to just go in there and find the cards that he wants, all right? I'm going to need to use that as well. And then there are these specialty cards that tie to some of those abilities and characters. In this case, I need these 3 right here. So I put these out where they tell me to. This is... that one goes there, that one goes there, that one goes there. And then we're ready to go. We play the game normally, except I have this special ability. So on my turn now, I can choose to take this pawn action. It says spend 2. I draw 2 cards from somebody else's deck, and then I replace one of those cards with one of these guarantee cards. So take 2 cards away and switcheroo with one of these. Put this back in their discard pile, along with the other card I didn't want, and the one that I took from them just sits here, right? So I might have that there while I give them this, and then later on when this shows up in their hand, they may use the technique on it to swap it with this card. Take this back, basically. They buy it back from the pawn shop. So it's a mild way to mess with someone. You're slowing them down, you're messing with their deck fluidity, you might be messing with their economy. that's the idea. And they all do something like that. Some are a little more complicated, like I said. Some simply say, hey, you can choose to, this guy here, spend 3 to roll a red die. You take the number of coins rolled from the bank. Great. So that's a very simple extra action I can choose to do on my turn. Some of them are not triggered abilities like that. They're sort of always on, like this character here. Very simple. Your hand size is increased by 1. Okay, that's it. That's the entire power. So these are neat. Some of them are a little more complicated. I'll give them that. They take a little getting used to, but again, you don't want to jump right in there anyway. You want to work your way up the difficulty rankings with these. But there you go. That's basically what comes in this box and the kinds of things you can expect to find. Mainly, a big part of the usefulness here is that you can keep everything from all the games in there. This has space enough to keep all of the boards that came in the other games, as well as the rule books that came in Dale of Merchants 1 and 2, and I assume 3, and keep it all in a single central box. All right? So let's go ahead and go back up top. Let me tell you about what comes in here game-wise and what I think of this as a storage solution and a centralized, system for the game. All right, so that is Dale of Merchants Collection, and I have to say, I like Dale of Merchants, okay? As you could tell, I have 1 and 2 and this now. I think this is a fantastic product. I'm really happy about this, and not just, again, because it's more Dale of Merchants, but it's a great way to keep it all together, to have a single box, really well laid out, nicely organized for this game. If you're one of those people who likes to buy custom inserts for your games, that sort of thing, and you like Dale of Merchants, you can stop right here, go pick this up if you don't have it, okay? You're going to be loving this. But let's go ahead and dive into it a little bit more. And again, I'm talking here about the system's storage and all of what this physical box does, and the game. And the game is fine. It's much like the other ones. I feel the same way about it, okay? Let's go ahead and get into it. So the theme here is still charming, still cute, still a little bizarre, yes, but you have all of these critters going at it. And I love that many of them, as referenced here by I pulled out the deck selection cards, a lot of them are really mean, okay? So for example, the bats, okay? Bats are mean. The nastiness level is 3 on them. They will mess with your opponent, and they do so in a targeted way. Maybe you don't like that. Maybe you want silly, goofy, oops mean, and that's what the pangolins are for. You roll some dice, weird things are going to happen. Sometimes they really go your way. Sometimes they completely backfire on you. So that might be a kind of card you like. Maybe you hate that, and you want something very controllable. Okay, well, you've got the goals are going to be very controllable. You give your opponent a bunch of junk. You slow them down. You mess with them. That's one way to do it. These all feel different. And then you've also got the mongooses and the bats. Use that clock. Mongooses are better during the day. So as the clock is moving around, and it advances every time you play a technique. During the day, these guys are better. At night, these guys are better. They get meaner at night, I should say. So neat stuff. And you do have 8, whereas all the other sets have 6, like I said. So theme's cool. I like the thematic implementations and interactions between these critters. No problem there. The aesthetics in this box are great. Okay, first of all, the box is a real thick slab of cardboard that they made this thing out of. Artwork is great. Insert is great. I like the way everything looks. It matches the look of everything else that's come before it. So I got no problem here with the aesthetics. Good component quality across the board. Replay value, extremely high. Because, and I'm not counting extra Dale of Merchants stuff here, okay? I'm talking about what comes in this box. 8 animal folks. Variants galore. You've got even just utilizing the special abilities where you deal everyone 2 and they use 1. You can play this a ton of times and not have the same game happen. You'd have to try, I think, to have the same game happen. Considering you can choose the animal folks you play with randomly, and then deal everyone 2 special abilities randomly, and they pick one from those, it's a tremendous amount of replayability. Never mind, you can include in, sets 1, 2, and 3 for Dale of Merchants, and now we're talking, near infinite replayability, I would say. So this is extremely high for me. There's a lot of content here to come back to, okay? The game arc here is the same as in the other games. I like it. I think it's a game in which you have to sort of figure out when you switch from gathering cards to actively building stalls and removing those cards from your deck. You're losing the card every time you do that, right? Some players go back and forth, just to sort of try to keep up with the pace, or maybe set the pace for everybody, put a little pressure on them. Some players don't do that. They just sort of build up a deck and then they go boom, 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 boom. Maybe with a little hiccup in between because things didn't quite work out. I like the way that works. I like the cadence in this game. It's quick. It's enjoyable. They also gave you something I didn't mention, a 4-player co-op variant, or team variant, in which you can play with a partner across from you, and on your turn, you can communicate with them. You're both going to be building a single line of stalls up to 10 instead of 8. But your partner can give you cards on their turn. They have to go right into the stall. They can't just give you stuff for your hand. So that's neat. It's, again, a variant, the traps. It's a variant. It's nice. So those are all going to mess with the, the story, the game arc and the story arc that you've got in the game. You can make it meaner, nicer, pseudo co-op, all of that stuff. The ease of play here is the one thing that gets a little ding for me. There's a lot. It's comprehensive. Like I said, the rulebook is kind of dense because they cover so many things. And for some reason, I'm surprised it did not include more user-friendly beginning stuff. Like, there's no player aid, I wish they would have given us one of these cards, this size, with a little player aid on it. It's not on there. It's not on the player board, the big player board you fold out in the center. It's not on there. So that would be nice if they had a little more just, FAQs and ways to get you up to speed. It's almost like this is made for someone who already knows Dale of Merchants, and to be honest, it likely is, right? But it would have been nice to have it be a little more sort of entry point friendly with a couple of ideas like that. So that's my one ding for the whole thing. If you're not someone who is new to the system, you're good. And then lastly, tactics and strategy and luck, all those things. Yeah, it depends on what animal decks you pick. Some are really lucky and swingy and crazy. That's fun if you want that kind of game. Some are very tactical. Some are all about the money or the time management with that clock, or, there's a lot there. There's different ways to build it up to give you the feeling you want. So it's all good. Overall, I think if you like Dale of Merchants, you have one or two or both, and you want more, this is a no-brainer. This is a fantastic package, okay? If you have not played Dale of Merchants at all, I would not necessarily start here unless you're one of those people who, when you assume you're going to get into something, you jump into the deep end of the pool and buy it all up. You know who you are. If so, you're not going to go wrong, okay? If you are not that person, you want to know if you're even going to like the game before you buy 3 sets all at once, then I would recommend you get Dale of Merchants 1 or 2. Same thing. Get one of those 2, see if you like it. Then if you want more, this will be a great next step, okay? Like I said, there's also Dale of Merchants 3, happens to be on Kickstarter right now. Not promoting it, but I'm backing it because it's going to go right in this box for me. So you might want to look into that as well, if you want to get, again, jump in both feet like I know some of you do. So there you go, folks. I like it a lot. This is a great box. I'm very happy to have now a big box of Dale of Merchants sitting next to the other large boxes in my collection. I can just pull that out as opposed to the original sliver of boxes that these came in. All right. So this is going to get from me an 8.5 out of 10. That is a seal of excellence. And again, that score is because of not just the content in this box, which is a lot. Okay. There's a lot of stuff in here, but because it's such a good master set of Dale of Merchants, which is a great deck building game. Adorable one. So 8.5 out of 10, seal of excellence from me. And that's going to do it, everybody. Thanks for checking this out with me. I'm Z Garcia. I'll see you on the next one.